Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Ben. We've got some news to talk to everyone about, huh?
I do. We're coming on because earlier today, if you watched the morning show with Kyle and Doobie, you saw that Nelson Peltz came out with his proxy letter, essentially asking that people vote for him instead of Michael Furman. And this afternoon, Disney has responded. So they put
Well,
out a press.
before I have you jump into that, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure everybody knows I'm Rebecca Mosley, the co-founder of Laughing Place, and that guy over there, that's Benji. He's the CEO here at Laughing Place, and thanks to him, as a Disney fan, I have become far more knowledgeable about the business side of Disney. And before I knew him, honestly, there were a lot of things that happened that I was like, why did that happen now? And so through Benji, I've learned much more about kind of the timing of events or why things have happened and become, just like I say, a more knowledgeable fan. And so with that in mind, Benji, I want to know more about what's been going on in the business world of Disney this morning.
Well, I mean, we talked, Nelson Peltz is an activist investor. We talked about how he's trying to get on the board. You can see a whole timeline that started with Bob Chapek in the summer of last year at Disneyland Paris. And the way it goes is there's proxy rules about how you do these things. But basically, there's 11 board spots, and he wants one of them. And there's currently 11 board members. So therefore, someone's got to go. And so this morning he picked who he wanted to replace. And it was Michael Furman, who is currently an executive at MasterCard. I'm going to find the vice chairman and president of strategic growth for MasterCard Inc. He has had all sorts of economic backgrounds. He even worked in the Obama administration. He was on the National Security Council and the National Economic Council. He was an assistant to the president of the United States. I mean, this is this isn't me, right? This is like a guy who actually, has accomplished things in his life. So it was an interesting pick. I did speculate earlier. You can rewind if you want to see why I felt he might have picked them. In the end, when Nelson this morning talked about it, he didn't say, "Oh, this guy's bad, I'm good." He basically said, "I should be on here. I'm picking this guy," with no criticism of Mr. Furman at all. And it just sort of seemed random, right? I harken back to when Save Disney picked, I want to say 3 or 4 board members they did not want you to vote for. And they called out specifically why these board members, whether it's Michael Eisner, Judith Vestron, whomever else it was at the time. And so this afternoon, Disney put out a press release and a letter to the shareholders, basically talking about, okay, he has decades of experience in business and international affairs.
He being
Michael Furman.
Okay.
Went through the whole laundry list of very large titles in private and public service. And then he called out that he's worked with the board to guide the company, providing expert advice on complex international economic, policy, and regulatory affairs to assist with Disney's international strategy and operations, among other matters. So basically, it asks, okay, you want this guy or you want Mr. Peltz, who is an activist investor, has had success and has had some failures. And in their press release, they say, over more than 6 months of engagement with Mr. Peltz in both conversations and written materials, he has demonstrated that he does not understand Disney's businesses and he lacks the perspective and experience to contribute to the objective of delivering shareholder value in a rapidly shifting media ecosystem. Also, they also bring you the point that Mr. Peltz sought a board seat before he was a shareholder, and we are skeptical of his motives and believe he would be disruptive at a crucial period for Disney.
Is that something that
he'll be a pain.
Is that something that we had known previously? This statement that he sought a seat prior to shareholder.
Yeah. So when he met with Bob Chapek, he basically said he wanted to be a shareholder. I mean, a board member. Didn't own stock at the time, but he was willing to buy it if he got a board seat. They went back and forth, and in order to sort of make his case, he had to buy the stock in order to get a board seat. It's. I think what's complicated in this is that he's obviously friends with Ike Perlmutter, who advocated for him to be on the board, the former head of Marvel, still a Disney employee, but who has publicly butted heads with Bob Iger, specifically in things like Ike didn't want to spend to have Robert Downey Jr. and Captain America Civil War. That was not a good use of money. And you could debate that all you want. I would say from an investor standpoint, I would say creatively, it was the right choice, but takes a lot of money to make these dreams come true, as Walt Disney once said. And who knows what's right. I mean, obviously a lot of the conversation around this has been about the Fox acquisition and whether that was a good deal. I would posture we don't know. At the same time, you got to judge a deal by when it was done, not with a pandemic in mind. I don't think anyone would reasonably see that coming, and it's easy to come in and say something. So I'm going to let you talk for a second while I hear what Mr. Peltz has to say right now.
Oh, okay. So as Benji departs to listen to Mr. Peltz, I'm Laughing Place. And let me get Benji out of the stream. And if you want to jump back in, Ben, you go right ahead. But we've been highlighting some new Funkos. And let's see, where's my share screen? Hey, can you tell that this was unexpected throw to me? So we've got some new Funko Pops from the world of Willow that we showcased, as well as the fact that a Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness official movie special is now available for pre-order. I don't know about you, but I'm excited about the Tron Light Cycle. I know that our team has been continually offering visuals and images from inside Magic Kingdom as that project's been underway for quite a while now. And here we go with the D23. That's the official magazine of the Disney D23 Club. You get it as part of their paid membership. It's a stunning magazine. I don't know. Mine's in the other room, unfortunately, or I'd show it to you, but it's a nice size. I call it a coffee table magazine because it's a really beautifully with graphics rather than, I don't know, it's kind of like a National Geographic in a way, just really heavy on the photography. I was going to look and see. Let's see what's been going on with the Laughing Place Twitter. I'm guessing that Mr. Peltz is maybe on CNBC or maybe one of those financial, maybe a Bloomberg network or something along those lines. This morning, our team was talking about the new treats that are coming to Disney World as the Valentine's Day celebrations approach. And we love it when they give us these Disney foodie guides. And so Benji and Kyle and Doobie were talking about those this morning. So if you missed that in our morning update, be sure and look at their discussion of Disney Valentine's treats. So what'd you get from Mr. Peltz? I see you're back. Are you back? You're muted. So I just want to warn you.
I got it. It seems like it was. So he was just basically reiterating his case. The CNBC folks seem to say, it's kind of a hardball tactic to pick a guy, and that out of all the people, it's odd that you have a U.S. trade representative who appears on CNBC regularly and has served on 10 public boards to be inexperienced. So I feel like he may have overplayed his thing here. Like, I think a lot of people before were like, okay, why not, right? Like, he's a good shareholder. He's been on boards, he's been successful. But when you pick a guy who is respected like that, just an odd, it's sort of like you may have overplayed your hand a little bit.
Well, particularly given, as you were talking about the Save Disney effort, you pointed out that with those names, they offered kind of reasoning behind the choices that they were making, in essence, as someone not on the seat we think this particular seat would be better utilized in X way. The decisions being made in that spot right now are not to the successful nature of the business end of things. And it sounds like there wasn't that type of kind of, if this person is removed, then you would have this natural benefit merely by the lack of their direct input. Am I getting it? Am I understanding correctly?
Yeah, it's just, it feels very I hate to say it, I'd hate to bring up a figure that would, but just seems like a little arrogant and not well thought out. I mean, I was thinking a lot of the things he said, it's funny. He did a CNBC interview and it was like, he was much more impressive in the written document than he was on the interview, in my opinion. And, some of the things that were in the written document, he didn't seem well prepared to talk about. So it seems like he had a good team that could build a case for him. But when it came to shove, it was really essentially he asked, why do you want to be on Disney? And he says, why not?
The previous release of kind of the timeline, I felt like was in some ways framing a bit of a narrative. And like I say, I am not somebody who deals in the financial realm. So this is like total outsider. I go to Disneyland all the time perspective. But it felt like it was providing a bit of a narrative of this maybe being a little bit more of a personal nature with the discussion of Ike. And we know that there was a bit of, a kind of conflict there. So to kind of, I don't know. And so this, I guess because of that, it makes me curious if there's any kind of dynamics of a personal nature at all.
Oh, it definitely feels that way, right? Like, I mean, there's no, what does he have to gain? I mean, his vision is the same as vision as Bob Iger's. So you could ask on both sides, why does Bob Iger not want him if he has the same vision? Because he's probably paying. Why does Nelson want it? Because, he wants to do it. There's no real sort of economic reason if they're all advocating the same thing, and you just go, billionaires being billionaires. But,
because as somebody who doesn't read financial documents, when you start when you have early on within your response the phrase inexplicably Trian seeks to replace Michael Fruman, to me, that has a bit of a kind of a rebuff nature to the language used. So just kind of that kind of dynamic strikes me as I look at it from a totally outsider perspective.
So I'm going to throw you a curveball because I didn't prepare you for this, but
Well,
I want you to play the guessing game here. Okay.
Oh no, this is like the thing I hate the most, but go ahead.
Okay. Disney Auditions has posted this audition call, I guess, for a new limited run musical at the Hyperion Theater at the Disney Resort. And we don't know what it is. We do know it is, the book writer is Hunter Bell, who did a title show, and features music by Emmy-nominated and Grammy Award-winning composer Christopher Leonard. And I'm going to go through the description and see if you can figure out what show this is. I don't have an answer. There's no right or wrong answer. So roll one. 3 female roles of all styles, proficient in harmonizing and ability to sing in many styles, from Destiny's Child to Andrew's Sisters, and who will act as a musical sisterhood and the occasional Greek chorus. Number 2, females 20 to 30s, must have a strong English accent. Role number 3, male, identifying 17 to 20, young man coming into his greatness. Role number 4.
Sorry, go ahead.
Role number 4, male 30 to 40s, decisive, capable, principled, and has a wry sense of humor. And role number 5, male mid-20s to early 30s, noble, loyal, idealistic, and romantic do-gooder who does not give up easily. What do you think?
Let's see, a trio of characters.
So there's a trio of females. Specifically calls out Greek chorus.
Yeah, yeah. Until the Greek chorus, I was thinking like the Witches of Morva, but right, isn't that Morva? Isn't that the three witches from Black Cauldron?
Toil, and Trouble.
No, I was thinking of the Black Cauldron, just because I'm trying to have some fun with this, because it feels very well telegraphed when you're talking Greek chorus. You say to a Disney fan Greek chorus, and I think people are naturally going to kind of think of Grecian urns. How about you, Kyle?
I have a theory.
Ooh.
Based on the location of the Hyperion Theater, they are going to merge Disney's Hercules with Marvel's Hercules.
Wow. You heard it here first, folks.
Zero to superhero.
Zero to superhero coming to the Hyperion.
Oh, now I'm going to be disappointed by whatever it is if it's not.
And they'll throw in a little bit. They have to throw in a little bit of what's it called? The musical that we watched in Hawkeye.
Oh, Rogers.
Rogers. They'll toss in a couple of nods to Rogers the musical.
Yeah, because here I'm seeing role 2. I'm seeing strong English accent, like a Peggy Carter type.
Oh yeah. Oh,
young man coming into his greatness, like a Steve Rogers type.
So we're going with a
decisive, capable, and a wry sense of humor, like a Tony Stark type.
Oh, okay. See, now we're really moving in with this Hercules Marvel mashup. I like it.
Yeah, callbacks will be between March 13th and March 23rd, so we should know something soon.
You'd hope. If it is the Hercules mashup, they're gonna have some cool effects where the Hercules character is here and there and everywhere.
Is that like a heffalump?
No, it's a Ted Lasso reference that I censored.
Oh, okay.
Nicely done. Nicely censored. Oh, I like that idea, Kyle. Now you've got me hoping.
No, now that you meant, like, obviously, yeah, when you see the Greek chorus, your first thought is Hercules, but now that Ben breaks down the things with as far as the English accent is kind of throwing you, unless they're gonna. I did look because I know that they had the Paper Mill Playhouse version of Hercules. I was trying to see if that actress was British, and she's not British. I don't know if the role was. I didn't see it, but I was like, well, maybe they're adapting that adaptation.
It's it's gonna be. I'm excited though that the Hyperion. I mean, let's not bury the lead here. Hyperion gonna actually be a theater with shows again. Yay!
I know. Where am I gonna eat my shawarma?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see the Hyperion back in action. So
I mean, the shawarma is perfect for Rogers the Musical.
I will laugh so hard if you were right. If that ends up being some sort of superhero musical, we were just.
I mean, people have wanted it to be.
I know, right?
As soon as the Rogers the Musical, they're like, it's right there. The Hyperion is in, arguably in Avengers Campus, or could easily be annexed. I mean, I guess it is because the shawarma cart's there. So.
For sure. So things have been busy around the site today, or no? Has it been a quieter day since we're, kind of, just chit-chatting?
Starting to stop.
Brought the news.
Much like LA traffic.
Did you get a chance to read the letter that the board letter that they did?
I skimmed it. I saw that they want me to just throw away the mail instead of recycling it, which I thought was a little bit odd for such a green company. They didn't say throw away. They said discard.
Oh, did they really?
Just set it aside. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Yeah, and of course, as we predicted, they're like, why would you want to kick off this guy? He's got all these great accolades. But yeah, overall, it didn't interest me much. I felt like they kind of just said, although the aspect of his son possibly being a replacement was new to me. And so it was funny to constantly, they'd be like, Nelson Peltz, parentheses, or his son.
Yeah, well, it's weird. It's the only job where you can just because if he dies or something, then his son gets elevated. Well, it's like, what kind of, I mean, I've heard of Nepo baby, but this is getting ridiculous. Like,
well, also Matthew is the one who nominated Nelson.
right.
Okay. As an outsider point of view, why do they tell me so many times in this thing to discard my blue card?
Because they don't want you to accidentally send in. So basically, if you send in the blue one, that comes from Trian. If you don't mark it specifically, it's going to vote as they vote.
Gotcha.
Same thing. The white one, if you send in a proxy under normal order and you don't fill it in, it's going to presume that you want to vote with the board. You specifically call out, no, I don't. And so you want to send the white one. I mean, I'm not going to tell people how to vote, but the white one will be vote with how the Disney board wants you to vote. Blue would vote the way Nelson Peltz. Now there's universal proxy access now. So basically everyone will be on all the proxies. It used to be that they would send you one and that's what you would vote that one. And that would, if you turn in the blue one, that would means you voted for them. And now you have send in the white one, you vote for these people. But now you can, everyone's on all of them, but it's just a way to make sure that you vote the way you intend to vote.
I understand. So if I send in my white card, but I forget to fill it out properly, the default is going to be what the Disney company wants. Whereas if I send in the blue card and didn't totally fill it out, the default will be what the Trian group wants. And so of course Disney would rather you send in the white one, and the Trian group would rather you send in the blue one. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I mean you can see. I mean they're going to look virtually identical. So the reason they call it the colors is so that you don't, they repeat the colors because
gotcha.
I mean luckily one's blue and one's white. It's not like one's teal and one's aquamarine.
That'd be fun.
But
sky blue.
What percentage of people do you think vote manually by like mailing things in versus just doing it online?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I mean, obviously most of the votes come from like 401k plans and stuff, so they're not even really voting or providing direction. But, a fair chunk of people, Disney's a blue chip investment, so there's a lot of people that are older who are going to be voting, a more sort of old school way.
Cool.
Can I ask you a question, Rebecca?
Okay.
I know you're maybe not. I mean, I don't want to put words in you. You're a Star Wars fan, right?
Yes.
So I'm not familiar, but what do you think? I mean, I'm not trying to get into the plot of this book, but what do you think of this art? It's about the Inferno Squad, which is like Darth Vader's, like, I guess elite crew.
If you were to have shown me this with nothing on top, and without just the three people, this feels like when I first see this, to me, this feels like a fanfic smash up between the Star Trek universe and the Star Wars universe.
You are
I
very
thought you were
right.
going to say a freeform show, and I was like, yeah, that.
But no, because she feels very Vulcan.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I
okay.
don't know how to undo it. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm ruining everything. I don't know how to produce.
It's okay. You hit the two people. Yeah, you hit the two people. Right? Is that kind of where you went, Ben, when you saw it?
I didn't go with it that way, but it definitely looks like the top half looks like a Star Trek novel from like the 90s, and then the bottom half has stormtroopers. But yeah. And then with the planets and everything. I guess this is based off the Battlefront 2 game.
Okay.
But, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Marvel comic art, cover art often has nothing to do with the actual issue, but sometimes it's just pretty to look at. So.
Oh, see, there you go, Mike Mack coming in with the education of the gaming world. I'm not a gamer, and apparently Mac wants to read it, so they're going to get Mac to read a book.
That's what we do here. We
Mac, even though I don't know, he's probably a very prolific reader, and I'm mocking him for no good reason.
You've got a cool thing queued up. I want to know more about this.
Kyle knows about this.
I do. We watched the teaser this morning. I guess there must be a plot point in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania where Scott Lang has written a book called Look Out for the Little Guy. So rather than just leave it at being a prop, they've created a book, and it'll be out this fall, I think. And I'm hoping that there's an audiobook version because I would love to listen to that. I will say this reminds me a little bit of there's How I Met Your Mother. They put out a Barney Stinson bro code book that was a real thing, read by Neil Patrick Harris and everything. So Kindle and what was
hardcover
so the audiobook pre-order yet?
I'm looking to see if they have not yet on my device indicated that there will be a audio yet, but I don't disagree that the notion of an audio book would be delightful.
Yeah.
You haven't seen this yet, Ben? This the Paul Rudd reading.
I haven't seen the trailer. I mean, I've seen the bit in the movie. Yeah, I think they showed it at Expo or Comic-Con or something, but I haven't seen this little clip. So
that's pretty fun. So, yay! So there you go. I figured that would be something that you'd like, and you may have missed this morning because I know the mornings are busy around here. Did you see that Celestino got our West Coast correspondent had to be walked off of Big Thunder last night?
I did.
I joked on Twitter that as kind of theme park punch drunk as he was, I feel like as a team we could have gaslit him into thinking it was a dream, like it didn't actually happen, because he was so giddy last night. My favorite tweets come from Mike as he's that tired late at night, trying to make his way continually through the theme park coverage that he's doing, because he does a great job, but it can be very mentally exhausting. You've got all that input and you're trying to make sure you're capturing the great footage to share with the team. And so then you end up with very deep philosophical conversations or evaluations like this one. Mike tweeted from him, "Who's the boss pod? You know how there are 2 Captain Rexes in Star Wars lore, and you have to specify if you're talking about the Star Wars one or the Clone Wars one. What if Clone Rex also became a DJ after the Galactic Civil War ended? That would be even more confusing." See? These are the insights I get from 72 plus hours in the park, Mike Celestino.
Does Steve Bradley Baker need more jobs? I mean,
he's coming back. He's gonna have to make that sound like 8 more times.
Seacrest and Michael Strahan are 2 people who don't need any more jobs at the moment.
Oh, speaking of people that like exceeded expectations, did you see Kyle's mashup of Wondrous Journeys?
I haven't yet, but wow, I expect great stuff from Kyle. So I don't know why.
I didn't do anything. All I did was find where the voiceover starts and put them together in different corners. Mike's the one who had to go film them all. Yeah,
poor guy had to go to Disneyland and watch fireworks.
Oops, sorry.
I will say I thought it was interesting that there was a couple points where it drifted out of sync. So I tightened a couple little things to put it back, but you'll hear a little bit of an echo because I decided instead of rather just using like a single source audio, I mixed all of them together just because they should line up, and it also gives it a more interesting sound when you have the room tone, as it were, of all the different areas.
So yeah, so if you want to get a feel for the show on a grand scale, you can check out our 4-in-1.
Yes,
this
for
show
the
is
truly
so
ADD.
amazing.
I gotta say, I'm really impressed by the Rivers of America version, because like they use the fountains. It's not just like turn on the mist screens and put the castle version on. Like they actually thought it through.
I can't wait to see this in person. And I usually don't like projection shows, so I'm super excited.
This is really good. I've seen it in person. It's really good.
But you haven't seen it like this.
That is true. I have only
something you can't do in person.
I only had 2 eyes, so yes.
I don't know which one I'd pick though. I think I'd probably pick Small World.
That's the hard part. Is like, oh,
that's
look at all the fun on the bottom right. Like, I mean, obviously, if you're gonna go see Fantasmic, which isn't currently running, but like, it makes sense to just stay there. Like, you're not missing. I wouldn't run to Main Street. Small World is probably the easiest to see under normal circumstances, but then again, Rivers of America probably without Fantasmic right now is easier to see too. Ooh, tough choices.
I love the use of butterflies. I love the concept of the cocoon. Go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, I said I can go twice as high as the butterflies.
Yep. The only thing that would make it better is drones.
Oh. Yeah, Jimmy and I had a long conversation yesterday, but it's like, what's Disney's issue with drones where only you can use them in Paris?
Yeah.
I don't think it's Disney's issue. I think it's probably the FAA and insurance providers' issues.
Check out this shot.
Because Europe's known for having so much more regulatory ease of everything.
I hadn't seen this yet. You get the the Fab Five there on Main Street, and right next to
Anna, Elsa,
Anna,
and
Elsa.
Kristoff.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool. Now I hope Topps will do some of these as trading cards.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, they've had some nice designs coming out recently. I was thinking the other day, I need to start giving you guys more of the Topps content to share on the site, so people don't overlook, because it's a lot of fun. You just have a few moments and you just kind of end up browsing. I think it'd be a fun game to play with you guys, where I show you Topps cards and you have to tell me the name of the character. So yeah, I was noticing that too, Mike Mac. There's been some footage on the tweets on the Twitter. Looks like maybe the Orlando Universal
On the Hive
having some fun with the drone testing, but you never know. I was like, is that drone testing? Is that private party? Who knows? Who knows?
It's funny because like I've seen drones. I've seen them at like the lowest rent places I go, like the Oakland Coliseum, Dollywood.
Yep.
Like, but
Just called Dollywood low rent.
Check out
compared to like Disney World, yes.
Check out, Benji and I will fight on that one of these days, but not today is not that day. Check out how the pause with this catches like the firework, kind of looks like a butterfly right here over Treasure Planet kid Hawkins.
Jim Hawkins.
Yeah, took me a moment to come up with that. But, there's a lot of Treasure Planet.
Does. Yeah, I didn't realize. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah. So Jim Hawkins. What were you most surprised to spot when you got to see it in person?
Well, they told us that every film was represented, so it was hard to be surprised. But I would say there's something weird to turn over to your left and just see the 3 cows from Home on the Range, and you're just like, huh? Yeah, they did make that movie. Bust a Move, April 2.
Yeah, like I say, one of these days, Ben and I will have a very heated debate about
Billy Bean's gonna start managing Dollywood soon.
Okay. I got a statement from Disneyland regarding the show, which is a whole lot of nothing, but I contribute this to a Disneyland official.
Okay.
We're excited to be exploring a new limited time offering for the summer of 2023. Looking forward to sharing more at a later date.
Well, there you go.
That's actually more than you think you'd get.
Yeah, right. I thought would get not response.
Yeah. But no, it's first of all limited time and coming this summer. That's information that should be passed along to whoever took that story, who I don't know. Let's see.
I don't know, but I sent it to you all, so hopefully they read it.
Let's see here.
And if this got you excited about the possibility of Herc, look, you can see Herc in Wondrous Journeys. He's right there between Moana and Hunchback. Quasimodo. Oh. Nah, wait, back in the day, Festival of Fools. Quasimodo. Oh.
That was before my time.
Oh yeah, I forget.
I mean, I was alive, but I wasn't.
I know it's right. Yes.
That's good. I'm glad you were alive when Hunchback.
So can we? So I had 2 moments that hurt me lately, and I need to go through therapy to share them.
Okay.
One is I remember. So I was talking about the name tags for the 100 years. So what was it, 100 years of the Walt celebration? Forget what 100 years of magic, right?
Okay. Not Wonder. This is
No,
Wonder.
No, right. This is magic, but not Wonder. It's and I went, oh yeah, you guys did that before, and then I realized from the time that celebration happened to today, Walt Disney founded a company. He grew up. He went overseas, and that all happened in between those 2 celebrations. And it made me feel very old because from that celebration, which I thought was like 5 years ago in my head, obviously was not, because Walt did not found the Disney Brothers Studios when he was 5.
I will say, going back to the video, I noticed that like the 2, the rivers and the first one look really well synced. So I almost wonder if maybe there were a couple of like slight timing differences between the pyro version and the other 2, which are during the presentations of just the projections. I wonder if that's what caused my slight hiccups there. But It's close enough. Sorry if it's a little echoey. It's just what it is.
That's
I'm
cool,
surprised you
though.
even included both audios. I would have just been like,
All 4 audios.
yeah.
Like I say, I'm waiting for the pictures to start coming out as people discover kind of where their favorite films are, kind of that moment. Because like you were talking about, they've told us that all of them are in there, and including we will be in Wish. I don't know, is Wish in there now, or will Wish be coming?
Wish is in there now, but they're trying to be coy about it. But it's
Okay.
in there.
Gotcha. So, but it's one of those things. So as people discover kind of where their favorite moments are, that we'll see, nice captures of just, that portion, somebody will go and like film the window where Evinrude flies by, because that's the Rescuers reference or something. I have no idea. I'm just making it up.
Oh, he's in. Evinrude's in here.
I figured he was, but I was just making up that that's the only way you spot something from Rescuers. But because like right now, when you were saying how, they told us that they told us that all the films were going to be there. So you weren't surprised by Home on the Range, but were you surprised at how highly visible any of them were? Because for me, it's like, I don't know that I would have expected to see all 3 cows. I might have thought that,
Yeah, I know. I guess like that was the thing. It's like, wow, that's a real prominent place. I mean, granted, I was watching from a specific location, but
yeah.
I mean, and then the old mill gets, I mean, deservedly so, but it's you don't always think of it as being something that in a public, mass appeal fireworks show is going to get that much love. But yeah, because it's not just the animated features; it's shorts too. Mickey is obviously in there, Beyond Fantasia. Yeah. It's a celebration of all Disney animated features. Also, Winnie the Pooh kind of struck me as being more prominent than I thought in my head. Like, I don't know why. He's obviously very popular, but you're just not used to seeing him in a fireworks show. I mean, just because his songs are a little typically more, folksy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and happily so. I thought it was just, it was better than the show I could have come up with, which isn't saying much, but it's nice to see that.
I've been enjoying stumbling on people's tweets who were part of the creative team, and like them celebrating, it finally being out there for everybody to experience. So that's been a bit of fun on Twitter. I was trying to remember, Ben, it's been a little bit since I rode Casey Jr. and the old mill, that's still there, right? I couldn't remember. I believe
so, yeah.
I can't recall if that's
the patchwork quilt's still there.
I couldn't recall. I know when Elsa came in, something went away, and I couldn't recall. So I was trying to remember.
I think they mostly moved things, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm like scrolling through photos while I talk to you guys to see if I can recall, because sometimes when you frequent Disneyland so much, you like your memory from the majority of your visits overrides your recent trips, and things will go away and you forget to replace them in your head. So
one thing I was excited to see, you guys probably talking about this morning, but this is not from a Disney animated feature, but one of my favorite animated features. We have Max's power line from the Goofy movie, standing in front of what looks like a parade door. But
yeah, I think the old mill may not be there. I'm still not sure.
Anyway,
anybody in the chat remember?
Yeah. What's
we got anything else going on, Mr.?
No, I was gonna say I gotta go to the vet. So.
Oh, check up or?
Yeah. Follow up. Nothing.
Okay,
Cool. Nothing worrisome.
Okay.
But, oh.
Looking at
Rebecca.
What happened?
You've seen a lot of Disney Cruise Line shows, right?
Yeah.
Scott Gustin had this to share. Belle wrote Villains Tonight show for Disney Cruise Line. Maybe not what I would put on my resume.
But you have to, dude. Okay, I'm not touching that. Sometimes the parts of something can be greater than the.
Sure, I mean, everyone, not everyone hits 100% of the time.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. And I'll be honest, I don't recall being as you guys were. You and my husband did not enjoy that show, as I recall.
It had its moments. It was just bad.
I remember feeling like I was defending it often with you guys, and so I stopped talking about it during our cruise. Is my recollection, is that I didn't come away from it with quite the same. By the way, I think the old mill was replaced by Arendelle.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. That's sad.
But it would have been there more recently, because when I look at my photos in my head, I feel like the Arendelle portion is where my memory has that. But you might be right that it got moved and I just didn't snag a picture of it. So
but anyway, well, thanks so much for helping out at the last minute so we could talk about the latest goings on around this place.
Yeah, for those of you who may just be joining us, we popped in here with this breaking news because there was more developments within the ongoing Tree group and Disney company regarding the board of directors and Nelson Peltz's desire to be on the board, and the Disney company's response to these statements and moves. So be sure to follow Laughing Place for more information about that as it happens. We also briefly touched on the fact that we've put up a video of 4 simultaneous views of Wondrous Journeys. It's on YouTube, and you can see it's pretty cool, nicely synced. You get a feel for what it's like to experience Wondrous Journeys within the kind of 4 settings that they offer. So be sure to check that out. As always, follow Laughing Place for the latest from the Disney company, parks, TV, movies, merchandise. It's all here. We do our best to keep you informed on all things Disney. I guess that's it, huh, Ben?
I think that's it. You never know when we'll be back, though. So
yep, stick around.
Stay tuned, and thanks so much. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. That's not the right thing. I was trying to. Oh, here we go.